Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Steve again, Harmless Rebel. I thought I'd do a quick video. Sitting out here on the deck waiting for my lunch to cook on the grill. So last night we went to the, what are they calling it? The stadium tour. Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, and who was the opener? Joan Jett. The situation at the stadium was kind of a nightmare. That's one thing I'll warn you guys about who are thinking about going. It was the first night, so there were definitely some bugs that need to be worked out going forward. But overall, we had a great time. The band sounded good. I know a lot of people were worried about Vince Neil. He's not singing the hooks, which is something he hasn't done for years. Most of the hooks he lets the audience sing, or the rest of the band sing. He is still doing most of the verses though. His voice is not what it was in the 80s, but it's on par with the last couple tours. I thought he sounded good. There were a couple things that were off, but not enough that it took away from the show. It was a really good show. Because of the issue with Atlanta, the parking situation, we ended up missing the first. So we had bought a spot at the parking garage right across the street, and for some reason that was closed. So they diverted us to another parking garage that was almost a mile away. So it took us another 30 minutes to get there because of traffic. And it was a 40-minute walk from that parking garage to the stadium. So by the time we got in, we had missed all of Joan Jett's set, which kind of pissed me off because we arrived at that first parking garage with, almost 40 minutes until her set started. So we missed that. Another big issue, and this will probably be the same at all of the stadiums. It's a stadium that holds like 30,000 people. I don't know the exact number for Braves Stadium, but it's pretty big. And there were only 2 merch booths inside the stadium. There were some smaller ones outside, but the lines there were huge. The lines were ridiculous. As we were leaving, the booths were still set up. I stopped at both of them, and all they had left was small shirts. So they didn't have enough of any of the material or any of the merch. And then the lines, the line wrapped from home plate well into the outfield. Just think about that distance. And when you got to the front, it wrapped around like 6 times. So the lines were ridiculous. I feel bad for the people that waited in that line to get up front and find out that they had sold out of everything. It was ridiculous as far as that goes. The overall sound, like I said, we missed Joan Jett. Poison blew me away. I'm not a huge Poison fan. I do have their first 2 albums. I have their greatest hits. If I'm in the mood for Poison, I would just listen to their greatest hits. And that's kind of what the show was. It was all their hits. Bret Michaels sounded fantastic. Like I said, I've never seen them live. I didn't know what to expect from him, but he sounded great. CC was fantastic. About halfway through the show, he did a solo where he played Eruption as a tribute to Eddie, which is really cool. Motley Crue sounded really good. The issue we had was, so we were in the 8th row, and the sound system is set up for an entire stadium. And unfortunately, the side of the stage that we were on, we were middle left. We were right in front of Nikki Sixx. The side of the stage we were on is where the bass was coming from. So our side, the drums, the bass drum, and the bass guitar overpowered all the rest of the everything else. We could barely hear the other drums, and it was really hard to hear Mick Mars. Now I know that's just because of where we were sitting so close to the stage, because I've seen a lot of videos that people did from the show last night where it sounded fantastic. And I have a friend that was up in the 200 section, and he said it sounded really good. So, that's one of the this isn't the first concert I've been to where it was like that. When I saw the Deftones a few weeks ago, I was in the front row, and or I was right up on the stage, and the vocal, the main speakers where the vocals were coming from were right to the left of me. And man, it damn near blew my eardrums out. It was so bad. I had to put earplugs in. And even with that, the vocals were really loud. So, that's one of the downsides. A lot of these shows are built for huge stadiums. And unfortunately, the closer you are to the stage, the louder it gets. So, so if you are closer to the stage, I would recommend earplugs. I didn't have any, and to get to where the earplugs were, you know, we were at the baseball on the actual field, and we would have had to cross the field, go up, you know, a couple levels into the stands to where and stand in a huge line to get earplugs. So kind of, you know, just something to keep in mind. Bring that with you. I don't know if you guys, everybody's reporting about it today because it was the first night of the show. There's a lot of videos online, so I'm not going to post any videos. You can see some real good stuff. And like I said, where we were, the sound wasn't the best. Then Def Leppard took the stage last. So from what I understand, Motley Crue and Def Leppard are rotating who the final act is. Motley Crue should have been the final act because they have their huge stage set up. It took like 40 minutes for them to set it up, and then another 30 or 40 minutes for them to tear it down before Def Leppard came on, who has no real stage setup. So Motley Crue really should be the main headliner just for that, because it adds so much time to the show. A really cool stage setup. It's definitely different than their last tour. No crazy drum things like they usually do. Part of that may, you know, if you guys saw the news, so Tommy Lee broke his ribs a few weeks ago. He only played the first 3 songs, and then he came out and played Home Sweet Home, which was like the third to last song on the set. It was a fantastic set. They hit all the top points. They did the theme song from The Dirt, which it's the first time they've done that one live. They did a really cool medley of all of the cover tunes that they're famous for, which is fantastic. I loved that. The Dirt song it's okay. I'm not a big fan of it. It's got a part where Machine Gun Kelly raps, and I don't think he's doing the whole stadium tour. I think they said he was just going to be there last night, but he came out and that was the low point of the show. And it's not because I'm not a fan of Machine Gun Kelly. I'm not. I don't care one way or another. I'm kind of ambivalent about him. But he's the only one from the whole night that was lip syncing. And it was blatantly obvious. You know, I hear people talk about Motley Crue using backing vocals and backing tracks. I didn't see that. You know, Vince Neil was out front with all his flaws, being Vince Neil. There was no auto-tune or nothing. You know, it was Vince Neil. But Machine Gun Kelly came out and he's rapping, and then he stops, but the rap keeps going, and then he's moving around, and you know, the microphone's moving away from him, and it's not changing. So I mean, like I said, that was kind of a disappointment. Overall, though, fantastic show. The weather, we only saw the first half of Def Leppard. It started pouring, and we were drenched, which is funny. You know, the whole day we were praying it would rain because it was close to 100 degrees for the first 3 acts. We're soaking wet with sweat, and then as soon as it starts to cool off, the rain comes and it just pours. It poured for a good 35-40 minutes before we finally decided to leave. And man, I got outside the stadium, took my shirt off, and literally I wrung out probably half a bucket. I mean, it was insane how much it rained. Unfortunately, I missed some of my favorite songs because they played them towards the end. Def Leppard sounded fantastic. I was really surprised. I only know half their stuff. I've never heard, or I've never bought any of their albums past Hysteria. Never had any interest. And most of those songs were songs that they played. It's nothing that made me want to go out and buy those albums. Even the new songs, they're meh for me. But man, if you guys get the chance to go to the stadium tour, I highly recommend it. It was a lot of fun, even with all the issues that we had. We had some other issues with the staff where we bought some. They weren't VIP tickets, but you were supposed to get like a little bag of goodies with concert, some band pictures and some posters. And we didn't get those, you know, little issues like that. The merch thing is a big thing, though, because these stadiums are huge. A lot of them, you know, 20, 30 plus thousand people. To have 2 merch tables set up and then to only have a few boxes of shirts, I mean, that's just ridiculous. That makes no sense to me. You know, so definitely some low points, but overall, we had a really good time. Like I said, if you're a fan of any of those bands, they all sounded great. I highly recommend it. So that's it, guys. Hope everybody's good. Take care. Have a good weekend. Bye.